understand about the ISO 27001 and specifically the implementation part. Okay, now what we are going to understand in this master class, or you can say in this webinar. So this will be our agenda. So we will be keeping it light in the beginning, and slowly and steadily we will be dipping dive into the implementation phase. Okay, so first we are going to discuss about what is an ISO, specifically 27001 2022 new version. Along with that, we will understand what is an ISMS, because this is a very important part. Okay, so we'll understand what is an ISMS, why it is very much important, how to implement the ISMS. Now with this new introduction 2022 version, what are the new update that we are going to understand in third portion, key clauses controls of ISO 27001 2022. Okay, so where we will be talking about what are the key clauses, what are the controls, and what are the new changes in the updated version. Okay, and we are looking into the difference as well, the older one and newer one. Okay, then we'll talk about the implementation planning cycle, that how you are going to implement the ISO 27001 inside an organization. So we do have a step-by-step approach. What are those steps? We are going to understand that, and how to achieve or how to complete this program, or you can say this project within the given timeline. We are going to understand that. Okay, now once the implementation has been done, after that what we have to do, we have to develop some document. Okay, so that will be related to the policies, that will be related to the procedures. Now how to develop a document, what are the main policies, procedures, how to write that, we are going to understand that as well. And last is your implementation phase and auditing for continuous improvement. Once the implementation phase has been completed, after that what we have to do, continuously we have to improve the process, improve the implementation. And how we can do that? By continuously conducting an internal audit. Okay, so we will be understanding the key difference between the internal audit, external audit, and how to plan for this audit as well. Okay, so this will be our agenda for the master class. So let's get started. Let's start discussing about each and every point which is given into our agenda. Okay, so we'll start with a very basic. What is an ISO? Now ISO is what? The first of all, the full form of an ISO is International Organization for Standardization. Okay, now what is an ISO? It's an independent non-government organization. What they are doing, they are simply developing and publishing international standard across various industries. Okay, now this standards is going to ensure the quality and safety of certain products, services, okay, throughout the system worldwide. Okay, now ISO is facilitating you can say some global trades as well. Okay, we call them as a standard. Okay, now let's make it more easier. Now standards are what? That companies, you can say, they can meet up to certain international requirement or regulations. Okay, now how they can meet up the certain requirements and regulation? By adopting these standards. Similarly, we have ISO 27001. This is a standard for what? Standard for your information security management system, ISMS. Okay, so this ISMS is helping organization to protect sensitive data. How to protect sensitive data? In a systematic manner. And from where we can get the systematic manner, step-by-step approach? Under to this ISMS standard, under to this ISO 27001. Okay, so I want to protect the data which has been used or which has been operated inside my organization. Now how to do that? How to maintain the security posture? By simply adopting this ISO 27001. Okay, now there is a question that I have encountered that many of them have asked me, what is the difference between 27001 2013 and 27001 2022? Okay, is there any difference between both the standard? Yes, there is a difference between both the standard. Okay, so 2013 version was an outdated one, where you can say main focus was to identify a security risk, to manage security risk. So what we have done in 2022 version, we have done some segregation. Okay, now first of all, a very important point about 2013 version, that there are 114 controls. Okay, Now this 114 controls have been categorized in 14 groups, also known as your domains. Okay. In 2022, what do we have? We have 93 controls now. This 93 controls have been categorized into 4 groups. We call it as a theme. Okay. Now, what was the difference over here? There was no proper segregation. Now what we have done, we have brought up an proper segregation about each and every control. This 4 theme is majorly focusing on those segregations. What are these 4 themes? First is your organization control, control related to the organization, control related to the people, control related to the physical, and control related to the technological. Anything, any technical thing, any technological thing, you will find out the controls over here. For any physical security, you will find and control over here. For any control for the people, for like employees, you and me, you will find the control over here. For an organization level, you will find the control over here. Now what we have done, we have segregated those controls, but previously the segregation was not done properly. Not only that, there are few new controls are also been added. Okay, like for threat intelligence, for cloud service, for ITC readiness, business continuity, for data masking, for monitoring activity. So as the new trends are getting, as new technologies are getting adopted by the organization, so what they have done, they have introduced new controls as well, as per the modern security concern. Okay, now along with this new controls, there are new terminologies are also been used. Okay, in older version 2013 version, they were basically you can say this version was based on your older structure. We call it as an annex SL. Okay, where the focus was primary on your information security only. Now with the update, what we have done, we have aligned the latest annex SL structure which is used in your ISO standard. Okay, now with this updated one, we are getting better integration. Okay, we are getting better management system as well, like ISO 9001 or ISO 22301. It is making very much easy to manage multiple certification within the organization. Okay, for example, 22701 is related to your PIIs. Okay, now if you have already 27001 certification, it's an extension. You can easily adopt the 22701 as well. Okay, so we are getting an extension now. Why? Because the segregation has been done. So that's why new technology and structures are being getting changed, are being changed in the newer version. Okay, now post to that, what we are focusing in the latest version, we are focusing on to your risk management as well. Okay, in older version, the risk management process requiring organization to establish the criteria first. Okay, then going with the risk, accessing the risk to ensure what are the opportunity, and once we identify the opportunity, the problem, we can apply and control over here. But in the newer version, while the risk management has been focusing on the same, in 2022 version, what we have included, we have included a clear guidance that how you are going to handle any emerging risk. Okay, anything related to the supply chain, anything related to the cloud service, anything related to the remote working, we have introduced this as well into your newer version. Previously we are not having anything related to the cloud service, and not we don't have anything related to the supply chain as well, but now we have introduced that. Okay, where in the latest version we are focusing more on your emerging threats. Okay, so as the technology is getting evolved, the 2013 version was not keeping up with the market standard. So what the ISO has done, they have introduced, they had updated the latest version with 2022. Not only that, they have been focusing on cloud security, data protection, and on your emerging technology as well. So now we have a streamline of all the controls. So we have adapting this ISMS framework to change those you can say security landscape as well. Okay, so this is just an small overview that what is the changes in your 2013 and what are the changes in your 2022 version. Okay, not only we have few changes into your controls, we have few changes into your clauses as well. Okay, we will talk about the clauses as well down the line. Okay, so as we have you can say there are few changes into the clauses, clause 4 to clause 10. Okay, so what are the those changes? We are going to discuss that too. Okay, the few takeaway points from both this version: 14 domains, 4 domains, 114 controls over here, 93 control categorized in 14 categories over here, 4 category. Okay, any controls has been merged? Yes, we have consolidated almost 57 controls in the newest version. We have renamed some of the controls as well. How many? 23 controls have been remained. Okay, along with that, what we have done, we have done the streamline as well of this control. Okay, so these are the basic things which has been changed in your 2013 and 2022. Now further to that, we are talking about the implementation. Okay, just quickly have a look over here. I have given the complete description as well. This is the aspect: 2013 version, 2022 version, domains 14, 14 controls, 93 controls in 4. Okay, so these are the few change in the updated structure. Now we are talking about the implementer. Who is an implementer? What is his roles and responsibility? Okay, first of all, implementer is what? He is going to give and guide. Okay, he is a guide who is going to oversize, or you can say oversees, the implementation of the management system. Okay, so if my organization want to implement the controls which is given under to your ISO 27001, now who is going to head this project? Okay, so we have two people: one is your lead auditor, one is your lead implementer. Now the lead implementer will come into the picture. He is going to take care about the project. He will understand about the organization first. Once he have the complete information about the organization, after that he will be heading the project. Am I audible to everyone? Okay, so I'm getting a message over the chat that I'm not audible. Okay, so for those who are not able to hear, can you quickly check your internet connectivity? You can simply rejoin the session. Okay, now talking about the implementer. Who is this person? He is going to lead the project. Okay, what project? The implementation of ISO 27001 inside the organization. So this lead implementer is going to align the standard requirement which is supported by the organization objective. Okay, when I'm saying the standard requirement is what? 27001. Any standard which is getting certified, against to that standard you can get certified, is your requirement standard. Now for the requirement standard you can get a certificate. So there are two categories: one is your requirement standard, one is your guidance standard. Okay, so guidance standard is giving you a guide. Okay, giving you the information that how you can do the implementation or how you can take this project ahead. Okay, it is just a reference. But on another side we have some requirement standard as well. So requirement standard, against to the requirement standard you can get certified, or your organization can get certified. For example, 27001, it's a requirement standard. You might have heard about 27002, 27003. These are the guidance standard. Guidance standard means giving you a guide that how to adopt or how to plan for this implementation. Okay, now a lead implementer is in charge of the business of which project? ISO project. The lead implementer understand the complete process that from the business owner and the developing the policies based on it. Okay, he is going to ensure that the process and guidelines are being followed. Not only that, lead implementer helps an organization to develop the skills and implement a management system as well based on your ISO standard. Okay, Now, what are the key responsibilities of the implementer? First of all, so first of all, he will be creating a plan. Plan for what? Plan for your implementation. So he will develop a comprehensive plan. Okay, so the comprehensive plan will be rolled out, okay, which includes your timeline, which includes your resource, which includes your process as well. Okay, so a complete overview that how much time has been required for this implementation, 6 months, 7 months, okay, based on to the size of the organization. First to that, how many resources has been required? 5 resources. Okay, to complete this, any other process has been required, give a chart of it. So like this, a plan need to be maintained or plan need to be proposed. Okay, now once this plan has been made, after that, what the implementer is going to do, he is going to engaging with the stakeholders. Okay, so this lead implementer is going to coordinate with the management, top management, with the IT department to ensure that they are participating as well and they are supporting in this implementation process as well. Definitely I will be requiring their support. I will be, if I am acting as an implementer, I will be requiring their approvals. Okay, post to that, I will be coordinating with the IT department, with other process where we are going to do the implementation. So definitely we are going to interact with these people. Okay, now once the discussion has been done, the approval has been given, after that, what the implementer is going to do, he is going to conduct an risk assessment. Okay, the third part will be your risk assessment. So he will be leading the risk assessment to identify what? Identify the potential problem. What are the security threats? What are the vulnerability, which is going to help him to develop an appropriate, you can say, a plan to implement the control. If I'm finding out any gap or if I'm finding out any problem, so let's fix this problem. How to fix this problem? By implementing or by adding up an control over there. Why? Because the control is having a problem or there is no controls is in place. That's why we do a risk assessment. Okay, now once the risk assessment has been done, what the implementer will be doing after that, he will be documenting all the process. Documentation, the very important part. Okay, he is going to ensure all the necessary documents are being created and those are being maintained as well, like policies, procedures, okay, the records that comply with the standard, all those things. So this is the part of your implementer. Now once the documentation has been done, the next stage will be your training and awareness. Training and awareness. Now why this training and awareness is important? If I'm introducing any control, now those information about the control should be given to all the employees as well. Or if any organization is introducing new controls or new process, so the you can say the employee should aware about this. Then how they are going to follow those, you can say, those controls. Okay, so that's why the training need to be given, the awareness need to be given. Okay, so we will be, you can say, the lead implementer will be giving the training or awareness among the employees. Okay, related what? Related to the ISMS. So we are going to maintain the ISMS accordingly. Now next comes your last part. The last part will be your monitoring and review. Monitor and review continuously. There will be an overseeing, or you can say, the progress of the ISMS. Okay, so they can make an adjustment as well, depending on to the needs, depending on to the continuous improvement. So we will be requiring a regular audits for that. Okay, so this is the plan which lead implementer is going to propose in front of the stakeholders or the top management. So first, a plan will be made, the action plan, that how the project will be added, how the project will be completed. Once the project has been proposed towards the stakeholders, they are going to give an approval and we will be requiring their support as well. Then we will start with the risk assessment to identify the gaps. Now once we have the problem area, we will be focusing on that problem area and putting up and control over there to mitigate those problems. Now once the controls have been implemented, make sure you are documenting each and everything, because this will be acting as an evidence how you are going to showcase that you have introduced a new control or you have done the risk assessment. Okay, next day anyone can challenge you. So for that we should have the evidence. Now evidence, what will be the evidence? The document will be acting as an evidence. Okay, now once the documentation part has been done, after that the training and awareness has been proposed. Okay, so all the employees will be receiving and training related to the ISMS policy, related to the controls which has been newly introduced, and the awareness sessions has been proposed. Now this need to be maintained every year too. Okay, continuous we have to maintain this. Continuous we have to test it. So for that we go with the audit on a regular basis. So this is the roles and responsibility, or you can say the main working of your lead implementer. Okay, now I am talking a lot about an ISMS over here. Okay, so this keyword, the ISMS, is very important. Why? End of the day, we are introducing an ISMS inside an organization. Now, first of all, ISMS is what? ISMS stands for Information Security Management System. So it is a framework. Now in that framework, what we are having policies, procedures, and guidelines. Now what is this? It's a step-by-step approach. Okay, ISMS is a standard which is giving you a step-by-step approach that how you are going to introduce any control or any standard inside an organization. So ISMS is giving you that steps. Okay, so we will be going with a systematic approach. Systematic means step by step, that we are going to manage and maintain the sensitive information of this organization. We are going to ensure that the confidentiality, integrity, and availability is been maintained. Okay, so for that we have the framework. Now inside this framework, what we are getting? Policies, procedure, controls. Okay, so how we are going to protect the information security or any asset of the organization? By introducing these controls. Okay, by conducting an risk assessment and identifying the problem. If there's any unusual access, unauthorized access, or any database or cyber attack, so we can identify that and put up and control over there. So the organization is been more secure and safe. Okay. Now, what are the key components of this ISMS? Okay. So first of all, we define a scope. Now scope is what? It's a boundary. Okay. We define the area, whether we want to select the organization or technology. Okay, so ISO covers both the things. For example, I want to implement the control in specific department. Okay, so we can select that specific department, or if we want to go with the whole organization, we can select the whole organization as well. So ISO has been saying what? That it's totally organization choice where they want to put the controls, or where they want to introduce the ISMS in their structure. So they want to go with a specific process, or they want to go with the whole organization. It's their choice. Okay. So first of all, we will be creating a scope, deciding a boundary. Once the scope has been defined, the next part will be your risk assessment. Okay. In risk assessment and management, what we do, we identify the information security risk. Okay, what are the potential vulnerabilities? What are the potential threat for the organization? So let's evaluate it. How to evaluate it? By identifying the likelihood and impact of that risk. Okay, so we are going to prioritize based on to the severity: low, medium, high. If it is an high risk, give more attention over there, introduce and control over here. If it is a low risk, so we can accept that risk. It's fine that it's sitting onto a low level, so let's treat it slowly and steadily. So like this, it will be, we will be deciding on the factor of the severity. Okay, and based on the severity, the controls of the safeguards will be applied to mitigate or to eliminate those risks. Okay, now next is your scope, risk assessment, and the third part is, first is your scope, second risk assessment, third is your security control. Okay, now once we have identified the risk area, let's implement the control over there. Okay, so ISMS established various controls. So as we have already discussed, how many controls are there? 93 controls. So out of that 93 controls, based on to your requirement, you can select those controls. Now, one more important thing what the ISO has been saying: if you are implementing any control, make sure you are giving a justification for that. And if you are not implementing the control out of this 93, give a justification for that as well. Okay, so this is how we are going to introduce the control. Okay, so first is the scope, second is your risk assessment, third is your security control. Okay, so based on under 2 year annexure, we have 93 controls. So as per our requirement, I will be adopting that control. Okay, now once the control has been introduced, we will be moving and creating a document as well, policies, guides. Okay, you can say guide for the employees, how we are going to handle and protect the data. Okay, how we are going to manage the sensitive documentation. So all those things will be written under to your guidance, or we can say under to your policies. So ISMS required some documentation. Okay, documentation for security policies, documentation from procedure, documentation for responsibilities. Okay, so that will be your next area. Now what is this thing? We are simply following a cycle. Okay, what is that cycle? PDCA, plan, do, check and act. Okay, so this is a continuous cycle. We are underlying to this principle. The ISMS is underlying to this principle. Plan for the implementation. So what we have done in last slide, we have discussed about the ISO. Okay, we are discussing about the role and responsibility of a lead implementer. So what he is proposing first? Plan. He is proposing a plan. Once the plan has been proposed, after that the risk assessment has been done, do part. Once the risk assessment has been done, the report has been out, we are getting the information, what is the problem area. So we are putting up and control in that problem area to fix and mitigate that problem. That will be your act. The plan means establish the ISMS, define the scope, define the policy. Okay, plan for the risk assessment. Now once the plan has been ready, do the risk assessment, implement the necessary security measure. Okay, then check, audit, monitor, review the performance of the ISMS. Once the review report has been out, we are going to fix the problem again and again, improve it. Okay, by addressing the any shortcomings. Okay, so like this, we are simply following the cycle. Which cycle? PDCA cycle. And with this, we are complying with the standard as well. Which standard? ISO 27001 industry standard. Okay, so these are the this is the example, or you can say this is what the ISMS stands for. Okay, now let's say any organization adopt this ISO 27001. Okay, PDCA. P stands for plan, D for do, C for check, and A for act. Okay. Now, what benefit you are getting with an ISMS, or what benefit you are getting with an ISO 27001? Okay, so these are the few benefits which we are getting with ISO 27001. First of all, the objective. Let's understand about the objective. Okay, the main objective is to protect confidentiality, integrity, and availability, isn't it? Confidentiality is what? Where we ensure that the information is only available to whom? To the authorized person. That is the simple one-liner definition for confidentiality. Second, integrity. Integrity is what? Making sure the data is accurate, it's complete. Okay, and we are preventing from an unauthorized changes as well. That is what an integrity, no modification to be done of any data. Availability, making sure the data is available to whom? To the authorized person, when? 24/7. Okay, that is what your availability is. This is what we are going to protect. We are going to maintain the CIA triad. Okay, now my main purpose is, my objective is to maintain or to protect the confidentiality, integrity, and availability. Now how to do that? Okay, how I am going to check whether my confidentiality has been maintained, my integrity has been maintained, my availability has been maintained? By simply doing an risk assessment. Okay, where we are going to identify or assess or treat the risk. Okay, risk related to your information security. We are ensuring that the organization can minimize the potential threat. Okay, we cannot give an assurance about 100% safety and security. No, there will be an risk even after putting up and control, even after adding you can say additional security, there will be a risk. But what best we can do, we can simply narrow that risk. Okay, we can drop down that risk, we can bring that risk to a low level. That is what best we can do. Okay, now before to that we need to identify the risk. Okay, now risk assessment has been done, management has been done. Okay, we are talking about the objective as of now. Okay, my main agenda is to protect CIA. Now how to protect the CIA? By performing a risk assessment. Okay, now post to that what we do, we you can say we comply with certain legal and regulatory requirement as well, ensuring that organization is meeting up with the relevant laws, regulation, or contractual obligations. Like we have GDPR, we have HIPAA, or other industry standard like ISO 27000. So we make sure that we are complying with certain legal and regulatory requirement as well. Not only that, we keep on testing this TDCA. We keep on going with a continuous improvement by establishing the cycle, by ongoing monitoring, monitoring, reviewing the process. Okay, now what benefit you are getting? Okay, so let's say I have adopted the ISO 27001 or ISMS. So with this, what benefit I am getting? First benefit I am getting is your regulatory compliance. Second, improve business continuity. Third, protection of sensitive information, increase customer and stakeholder confidence, reduce the security costs, and streamlining the process. Okay, regulatory compliance, the standard compliant. Okay, I am following the ISO 27001. With this, what benefit? I am getting a benefit in the market as well. Okay, so everyone will be doing a business. Why? Because I'm giving them an assurance that CIA has been maintained, the data security is been maintained. Okay, now with this I'm getting you can say uh, more business as well. Okay, continuously I will be getting in more business because I'm complying with the standard. I'm improving the information security as well, the structure of how we are going to improve the information security by following the structure control, by adopting the ISMS. Okay, so with this I'm getting you can say we are gaining the trust between the customer and the client as well, because we are ensuring that your data has been safe, your data has been protected. Okay, for that I have taken the certification, my organization has taken the certification, that is of an ISO 27001. And ISO 27000, the certification body ensure that the ISMS has been maintained. And how they are going to ensure? By continuously doing an assessment. What is an assessment? External audit. Every year there will be an external audit. Okay, so every year there will be an external audit, but before to an external audit, my organization is going to ensure that the internal audit has been done. Okay, they are going to identify the problem. If the problem is not been fixed in external audit, the problem will be highlighted, due to which the certificate may get cancelled. I don't want to do that. Lot of an investment has been done, lot of an time has been invested over there, money has been invested over there, so I don't want that situation to arise. So for that I am going to do an internal audit every year, at least twice in a year, and after that there will be an external audit. Okay, apart from that, it reduced the security cost as well. Now how it is going to reduce the security cost? Okay, so let's say we are having a team. Okay, now that team is continuously doing a risk assessment. Okay, so every year we are planning for 3 risk assessment. Okay, after that the risk assessment has been done, we are planning for risk treatment as well. Okay, it can be any risk assessment. Okay, it is not specifically to an audit, it can be any risk assessment. It can be a vulnerability assessment, it can be your pen testing, it can be a web application testing, any type of an internal audit, any type of an assessment. Okay, so we have planned for 3 types of an risk assessment every year. Okay, now based on that you are treating the problem. Okay, risk treatment. For that you require a process. For that you require some team to work on it. Okay, for that you require some additional cost for it as well. Additionally, you have to pay every year 3 times if you are not having the team, so you have to outsource it from external vendors, okay, to do that assessment for you. Now what if I am having the ISMS in place? So definitely we will be having an internal audit. Okay, definitely there will be an external audit. Now this internal audit, external audit is going to do a risk assessment, and before to that they are going to check for the old records as well. Okay, now with this what we are doing, we are making sure the security posture has been maintained. What if the security posture is not been maintained? There is a high chances to for that organization to get under an attack. What if the attack has been done after that? Just imagine the impact of the organization, impact in the organization. The impact will be very much high. Again, they have to streamline the process. They have to run the business. They have to mitigate all the problem. The cost will be very much at that point of time, isn't it? Think from that perspective. What if the attack has been done? After the attack, impact for the organization is very much high. Okay, they have to look out for the problem. Again, they have to treat for that problem and bring the business back online. Okay, what if I'm having the implementation of an ISMS in place? So we are maintaining the CIA already. Okay, already addressing the problem and fixing the problem. We are not waiting for any attack to happen. Okay, so this is how we can reduce the cost of security cost as well. Okay, and with that I am streamlining the process as well, aligning with the business objective. Okay, always going with the, you can say, continuous improvement. And with this continuous improvement I am getting a global recognition as well, because the certification is foreign standard. Which standard? ISO 27001, which provides a global recognition, or you can say the benchmark, which can enhance the organization credibility. Okay, due to which there will be a lots of a business opportunity, particularly with international client. Okay, so by implementing an ISMS, organization can proactively manage their information security risk. It can support the compliance as well. It can force the security council, you can say conscious culture as well. Ultimately we are leading to more secure operation and improving the business outcomes as well. That is what the benefits you are getting with the ISO, or you can say ISMS. Okay, now coming to your next part. Okay, where we will be talking about the clauses. Okay, now I hope everyone is having the fair understanding that what is an ISO, what is an ISMS, what are the benefits you are getting with the ISMS, what the benefit organization is getting with the ISMS. Okay, now let's talk about the clauses as well. Okay, so this is where everyone get confused. Okay, so generally there are you can say clause 4, clause 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 and 10 clauses. Okay, we're starting with an clause 4, 1, 2, 1, 2 and 3. These are the basic one where we decide the scope, where we decide the resources, where we decide about the planning. Okay, that is again you can say the management part, which has already been done, the basic things. Now the main working starts with clause number 4. Okay, so let's understand what is this clause all about. Okay, and what as an implementer or as an auditor what we are going to do over here. So this is where we will be working. This is what the implementer is going to look after, and this is what where the auditor is going to look after. Okay, so according to the clause number 4, talking about context of the organization. Now let's imagine you are been hired as a lead implementer by XYZ organization, or let's say by Infosec Train. Okay, so you are an independent auditor, implementer. Okay, Infosec Train want to implement the ISO 27001 inside their organization. They are looking for some you can say implementer in the market. Okay, so let's say you have been hired as an implementer. Okay, now you are very much new. Okay, you don't know about the organization. Okay, you don't know what all processes have been running inside this infosec train. So what you are going to do at first, you are going to understand about the organization. You will be connecting with the stakeholders. You will be connecting with the process owner where the implementation to be done, and you will be understanding about the culture, or you can say the process of the organization. That is what the clause number 4 has been talking about. Okay, so where we will be understanding the organization and its context. Once we have the organization information, then we will be understanding what are their needs, what are their expectations. Okay, what is their vision, what is their mission. Until and unless I don't have the information about their mission and vision, how I'm going to help them in the implementation. Okay, so here we will be understanding the needs and expectations from the interested party. After that, we will be defining the scope, determining the scope for the ISMS. That is what the clause number 4 has been talking about. Context of the organization, understand the organization. What are their requirements? Okay, what is the vision? What is the mission? Okay, now while defining the scope, as ISO has been saying, okay, that ISMS can be adopted by you can say to any department, to an whole organization, or to any key process as well. It's totally depending on to the organization to organization. Okay, now once I have the information about the organization, I will be moving to the clause number 6. Clause number 6 has been talking about the leadership. Okay, now leadership, there are sub clauses under to leadership as well. Okay, now first of all, leadership is what? The commitment from the leadership. That is what the clause 6.5 is been talking about. Okay, now who is going to give you the approval? Top management, isn't it? They are going to give an approval. Once until unless we cannot do the implementation, we cannot start the project. Okay, so we will be requiring their approval. So top management is going to ensure that ISMS has been compatible with the organization. They are going to ensure that the requirement, or you can say they will be integrating the ISMS requirement inside the organization or in their business process as well. Okay, they are going to define some policies, because let's say I am the business owner. Okay, I have started an infosec train or XYZ organization. Okay, now I will be deciding what process to be running. So we are taking care about some services. We are giving some services. Now I want a marketing team. Okay, to pitch those services. I want a sales team who is going to sell those services. So these are the processes which I have decided that in this organization we are going to have this process. So what I am doing over here, I am writing the policies. I am giving an information that how this process has been running. I am giving an information what are the roles and responsibilities of the process owner, and how the process will be running. Okay, so top management will be defining certain policies as well. Okay, so as a lead implementer, we are going to review those documents. Okay, we are going to review what are the roles and responsibilities have been given by the top management. Okay, because they are only the person who will be the responsible in order to ensure that the information security management systems has been conforming to the requirement or not. Okay, who will be designing the process? The top management will be designing the process. Okay, so that is what the clause number 5 has been saying. Okay, now the next part has been coming over here is your plan. Okay, P of PDCA, the first part has been initiated. Now what we are going to plan? We are going to plan for the implementation. We are going to plan for the risk assessment. We are going to plan for the risk treatment as well. Okay, so first identify the risk and then treat the risk. So for that you should have a plan. Okay, so that is what the clause number 6 has been talking about. Okay, how we are going to address the risk, how we are going to address the opportunity by conducting a risk assessment, how we are going to reduce the risk by creating a plan of risk treatment. Okay, so we have some sub clauses under to this plan. We have clause 6.1 talking about how we are going to address the risk and opportunity. Then clause 6.2 talking about information security objective planning, how we are going to treat that risk. Okay, how we are going to change. Okay, what are the plan for changing, or what are the plan to uh, introduce the control. Okay, that is what this clause number 6 has been talking about. Okay, so first of all, we are going to determine the risk and this opportunity. Then how we are going to do that? By conducting and risk assessment. Okay, so make sure you are proposing and plan what type of risk assessment, how the risk assessment to be done, when the risk assessment to be done, where the risk assessment to be done, all the W question to be answered over here. Okay, post to that, what if there is a risk, there is an opportunity, how you are going to treat that risk. Okay, so based on to the severity, the risk will be treated. If it is in high risk, it need to be treated as soon as possible. If it is in low risk, okay, so we are going to ignore that risk, or we are going to share that risk, or depending on to the treatment plan you are going to propose it. So at least we should be having a plan in ready. We are not going to wait for any opportunity to happen. Okay, so we will be having a plan for each and everything. That is what the clause 6 has been talking about. Okay, now once the plan action has been done, then to complete this we require and support. Okay, now support is what? Support in the sense of, you can say, uh, to complete the project we require a team. To do the risk assessment we required and people over there. Okay, that is what the support clause has been talking about. Okay, support in the sense of an resources, support in the sense of an communication, support in the sense of an documentation writing. Okay, so now who is going to provide us and support? Top management. I am doing an implementation for the organization, so for that at least 5 implementers has been required. Okay, this is my first clause. So top management is going to give an approval. Okay, go ahead. Okay, get your get a 5 lead implementer for this project. Okay, now we want to give an awareness training as well. For that we required and support from the top management. Once the implementation has been done, we are proposing, or we are planning for an awareness training. The awareness training, for that we required a skillful person. Okay, again you will be sending a proposal. For that you're requiring and support from the you can say audit team, or from the security team, XYZ team. Okay, not only that, you will be creating you will be communicating through and throughout. Okay, with the different process owners. Again from there also you are expecting and support. From top management you are expecting and support. Continuously you will be interacting with them. That is what this clause number 7 has been talking about. Okay, so under to this we have different sub clauses. We have resource sub clauses, we have competence sub clauses. Okay, making sure that a implementer is competence enough to derive or to carry this task. Okay, then the awareness to be done. For that also we have a separate clause. For communication we have separate clause, so that is coming under to your support. Okay, next we have is your operation. Okay, now operation is what? This is my do clause. Okay, so I have created a plan for risk assessment and risk treatment. Perform that risk assessment and risk treatment over here. Now I am going to do the risk assessment. Okay, so whatever you have planned, react on it, act on it. So that is what the clause number 8 has been talking about. Operation. Okay, plan, do the risk assessment. Whatever risk has been identified, treat that risk. From where we are going to treat, how we are going to treat, that risk treatment plan has been proposed over here. Okay, so adopt that risk treatment plan based on the severity, treat that risk. So we have some sub clauses under to this operation. We have operation planning and control, we have information security risk assessment, and we have information security risk treatment. These are some sub clauses under to this. Okay, so first conduct and risk assessment, identify the risk. Okay, then treat that risk. Okay, so that is what your do clause is. clause number 8 operation. Okay, then we have is your clause number 9, which is talking about an performance evaluation. Okay, so check, this is my check, plan, do. Now I'm going to check. Okay, how I'm going to perform, or how I'm going to evaluate the performance? By continuously monitoring, by continuously analyzing, by continuously evaluating. Okay, so organization is going to evaluate the performance of what? Performance of your effectiveness of the ISMS, whether you have kept all the documented all the documents updated, because those documents will be acting as an evidence. Okay, so again and again I have to review it. Then with an internal audit you can evaluate the effectiveness of your ISMS, isn't it? Whether you are meeting up with the compliance, we are maintaining the ISO 27001 or not. Okay, so for that we can do the internal audit, and on a regular basis we can have the management review as well. Top management is going to review the ISMS in a planned interval, because every year it's not the same, isn't it? So as the things are getting evolved, we keep on adopting new tools, new technology. Okay, so definitely we want a regular review for that as well. So based on this new tool, do we want any assessment to be done for this new tool? Okay, do we want any controls to be added in these two tools? Who is going to use this tool? Okay, what permission to be given? So at least your management should have an you can say overview. So for that they will be doing an management review. Now make sure this management review has been done before the external audit. Okay, so that again it's in performance evaluation, reviewing how the ISMS has been working. Last clause is your improvement act. Okay, so we have planned. Okay, we have planned for the assessment, done the assessment. Okay, evaluated that everything has been working fine. Now after that, what is the main thing? Again and again review it. Okay, making sure that you are going on a continuous improvement cycle. So organization is going to ensure that the continuous improvement has been done. Okay, so they will be you can say checking for the action. There should not be a non-conformative. Okay, so these are the keywords which has been used in this auditing field: conformative and non-conformative. Okay, so conformative means complying with the standard, non-conformative means non-complying, not complying with the standard. Okay, so organization is going to ensure that there is no non-conformative. Okay, there are no we can say I can just in a simple word I can say there are no negative impact or negative marking. Okay, so again and again we have to test it. Okay, we have to go with the continuous improvement. Okay, and for how we can do that? By simply going with an audit. Okay, by reviewing the effectiveness, by keeping by making the changes in your documents. Okay, by reviewing the results as well, what are the corrective action to be taken, or any management have proposed or management have given any suggestion, by simply adopting those suggestions as well. So with that I can go with the continuous improvement. Okay, so this is what the clauses have been talking about. Okay, so to make it very crisp, understand the organization. Okay, take the help from your leadership, the commitments. Okay, approvals. Then plan for risk assessment, plan for risk treatment. For that you require and support as well, support in the sense of you can say uh, from your top management, support in the sense of your, you can say, for the project. Okay, so I want at least 5 team members in my team to complete this task. So definitely you will be requiring additional resources over here. Okay, then whatever you have planned, react on that plan. Okay, whatever plan has been proposed, react on it. Okay, do clause. Okay, complete or conduct and risk assessment. Based on the risk assessment, treat that risk. Now again and again monitor it. Okay, that the controls which have been implemented are correctly placed or not. Have we missed anything? Okay, that is what an performance evaluation is, doing an internal audits. And with this, I can go with the continuous improvement. I can stay updated. I can run my business. Okay, so that is what these clauses have been talking about. I hope everyone got a clear idea what are these clauses all about. Okay, now let me give you the plan that as an implementer, how you are going to process it, how you are going to complete the project, or how you are going to implement the control or ISMS inside the organization. Okay, so I have segregated in 16 different steps. Okay, this is how an actual team member or actual implementer is going to plan for the implementation. Okay, now first, management support. Treat as a project, define a scope, write information security policy, define the risk assessment methodology, perform risk assessment and risk treatment, write a statement of applicability, write risk treatment plan. Okay, define measure of effectiveness control, implement security control, training and awareness program, operate the ISMS, monitor and measure the ISMS, internal audit, management review, corrective action. Okay, these are what your 16 stages will look like. Okay, now let's talk about the stages one by one. Management support. So we will be, or you can say the commitment to be given. Okay, okay, now all of a sudden I cannot decide that for this organization, let's go ahead and implement the ISO, ISMS. Okay, now that should be given, or you can say that will be decided by the management. Okay, so management will going to give a commitment over here. Yes, now it is the high time that organization should go for the implementation for the ISMS. Okay, so they will be actively participating in this. Okay, they will be giving or sending a proposal. Let's go ahead and get certified under to the ISO 27001. For that, let's implement the control. Okay, so management will going to give a commitment. Now once the commitment is been given by the management, the project will start. Which project? Implementation of an ISO 27001. Okay, a formal project will be given. Now in that project, what will be given? The timeline will be given. Okay, what are resources will be required for that project? Lead implementer will be required. What is my milestone to get certified? Okay, who will be the project owner? Name of that project leader. Okay, lead implementer. What will be the roles and responsibilities of all the project, of all the team member? That should be clearly defined. How much time will be required to complete this project? Again, it cannot be done overnight. Depending on to the size of the organization you are going to give, or you can say depending on the size and the process where you want to go the implementation, the timeline will be decided. Nearly it will take 6 to 1 year. Okay, 6 months to 1 year to complete that project. Okay, so like this the project will be initiated. Okay, now once the proposal has been made, after that we are going to define the scope, identify the boundaries where you want to go the implement, do the implementation of an ISMS whole organization or to a specific department. Okay, so department, system, process, whatever you want to cover depending on to the business to business. Okay, the scope will be defined where the you feel, or where organization feel the area is your high risk area, and related to this I want an information security policy in this area. So they will be deciding it. Top management, implementer and top management will going to discuss on it and define the scope. Okay, now once that is been that is been done, write the information security policy. Okay, so the top level documents will be written over here, the outline. Okay, it's not like that you are going to write the policies for each and everything. No, I'm talking about the outline, your top level document that the organization will be having. Okay, or the commitment given by the top management, so that policies should be objectified. Okay, that should align with the business goal. and should be established with the management, or you can say the resource as well. Okay, now once that has been done, define the risk assessment methodology. What type of a risk assessment you are going to do? We are going to propose a risk assessment methodology. Okay, how the risk assessment to be done, where the risk assessment to be done, what, how you are going to calculate the likelihood and impact, all those things will be given. Okay, now once you have proposed the risk assessment methodology, then you are going to perform the risk assessment and treatment. Okay, a detailed assessment has been done. Why the assessment has been done? To identify the potential security threat and vulnerabilities. Okay, once we have identified the potential threats and vulnerability, we are going to apply the treatment plan as well. Why? To mitigate or to transfer or to accept or to avoid those risks using the appropriate security control. That you want to avoid that risk, that you want to mitigate that risk, you want to accept that risk, or you want to transfer that risk. Okay, once that has been done, we are going to write the statement of applicability. Now statement of applicability is also known as an SOA. Now what is this SOA? We are going to write all the controls over there. It's a document, right, where you give the complete information about all the 93 controls, and from that 93 controls, what do you think which is suitable for your organization, adopt that control given justification. And any of the control, if you think so it is not suitable for my organization, for my business, ignore that control, but give an justification for that as well, why you don't want that control. Okay, your inclusion exclusion of all the specific control to be given in your statement of applicability. It's a document where the security controls from your NXA is been applicable, or you can say we are going to write all those, we are going to include all those controls in that. Okay, that is what your statement of applicability is. Then write risk treatment plan, create a formal plan. Okay, so which is going to give you the details of the how you are going to treat that identifiable risk. Okay, specify the controls which you want to implement, who will be the responsible person to implement this control, when the control to be implemented, the timeline to be given. Okay, what will be the expected outcome from that control. Okay, so that is what we are going to write over here. Okay, then define measure and effectiveness of the control. Okay, so we are going to establish a criteria to evaluate the effectiveness of the implemented control. Okay, so that will be depending on to the KPIs, key performance indicator and matrices that you are going to monitor for the performance regularly. Okay, so every month we are going to have those report out, and based on that report we will see the what are the effectiveness of this control. Okay, then implement the security control. Okay, so based on to your SOA, okay, we have decided out of 93 controls we can go with 60 control. Now implement this control. Okay, now once the controls have been implemented, we should give an awareness program as well to all the employees. We have introduced new controls, how they are going to come to know that the organization started adopting the new control. For example, the password change policy. Every month you have to change the password. Okay, you have to go with a new password. So we have introduced this new policy inside the organization. Okay, now how come all the employees will be having the information? So for that, the awareness to be given, a training to be given. Okay, that we have introduced this control, the password policy, that every month you will receive a pop-up. Okay, so you have mandatory, you have to change the password. Along with that, you cannot reuse the same password, you cannot use your name as a password. Okay, at least go with 8 character with uppercase, lowercase. So like this, we are going to give an awareness to each and every one about those controls. Okay, then once the awareness has been given, we will start operating the SMS, operating the controls. Okay, So we are going to ensure that ISMS is getting functional as per our plan, okay, as per our daily routine. Now, to make sure that the ISMS is being operated, we are going to review it on a regular basis, monitor it. How to monitor? By conducting an internal audit on a regular basis. Okay, with that internal audit, management is going to review, is there any problem, any changes need to be done. Okay, he is going to review the report. Okay, and with that I can go with the corrective action. Okay, so these are your 16 steps that organization can systematically use this and implement the ISO 27001:2022 in their organization to ensure that they are meeting up with the standard requirement. Which requirement? 27001 requirement. Okay, so this is how your ISMS copy will look like. Okay, so in this, the complete information has been given. Can you see context of the organization, leadership, planning, all the clauses? Along with the clauses, we have the controls as well. If I scroll bit down, these are your next array controls. How many controls? 93 controls. These are all the controls. Control related to the organization, then control related to people. Okay, then control related to the physical security, and control related to your technological. Okay, all the 93 controls. Out of this 93 control, after the risk assessment, you will decide which one to be accepted or which one to be implemented or which one to be excluded. That we are going to give in under to your statement of applicability, SOA. Okay, so this is how your planning will look like for the implementation of an ISO 27001. Okay, now there is one more thing we do. Okay, so after the implementation of the ISMS, we conduct an gap assessment. Okay, now what is the difference between gap assessment and risk assessment? This is again uh, a question which I have heard a lot. Okay, many people are getting confusion between the gap assessment, between the risk assessment. Now gap assessment has been what, where we will be analyzing from the context of ISO 27001, we will be evaluating the current state. Okay, what is my current state? What is the current state of the organization? What are the best security practice or policies they have been adopting? We are going to compare with the requirement of the ISO 27001, if through which I can easily identify the gaps or I can easily identify the areas. Okay, whether they are meeting up to the requirement as or not. Okay, in a simple term, I will say in gap assessment, what we do, we simply find out the gap area. For example, I have decided to implement 60 controls out of 93 controls. Okay, once the controls have been implemented, we will do a gap assessment to see all the 60 controls are properly been implemented or not. Anything has been missed, let's cross verify. Okay, that is what your gap assessment in simple term. Okay, now how we conduct the gap assessment? First, the requirement. What is our requirement? ISO 27001. We review the requirement, we review the control outline. How we are going to review? By simply looking into the statement of applicability. Okay, then we will check the current state. We are going to analyze the organization, what are their existing security policies, procedure, what are their controls. Okay, how they have been aligned with ISO 27001 requirement, through which we can simply identify the gap. Okay, difference between current practice and what are your requirement practice, that is there anything missing in between, any policies have been missing. Okay, is there any lack of documentation that implementer have missed. Okay, are we having the complete document, all the documents? Okay, that's what we do in the gap assessment. We prioritize the gap based on to your criticality. Okay, then we develop an action plan. Okay, how we are going to close those gaps. Okay, now what benefit you are getting with a gap assessment? First of all, we having a baseline. Baseline is your ISO 27001 implementation. Clearly we have an understanding. that my starting point is implementation. So we will be focusing, or we will be prioritizing on this area. Which area? The 60 control. Okay, let's do a review that all the 60 controls have been implemented. We have all the documentation. Are we meeting up to the criteria? Are we complying with the standard requirement? That is what we do. Okay, no additional, you can say, efforts have been required. So we simply streamline with the implementation, this gap assessment. Okay, now what is a risk assessment? Gap assessment to identify the gap. Risk assessment is what? Risk assessment is a process to identify and evaluate and prioritize the risk to the organization, assets, or operation. The goal is to understand the potential threats and vulnerability and to determine the likelihood impact of that risk. Okay, risk assessment is what? It's a systematic approach for what? To identify and evaluate the risk. Okay, so I can identify what is the critical situation for the organization. Let's say there is a server. Now server is what? It's an asset. Okay, so we have to maintain CIA, confidentiality, integrity, and availability. Now, who is going to have an access to the server? Only the internal employees. Okay, who can do the modification? We are going to give an information, the process owner, who is going to take care about the servers. Okay, and when this server to be available 24/7 to everyone. Okay, now by conducting a risk assessment, we are going to identify whether the integrity has been maintained. Only the authorized person is having an access to the server. Okay, who can do the modification? We are going to identify that. Who is going to have an you can say access to the server, and when they are going to have an access to the server, we are going to check that how the server has been maintained, is the backup has been done. Okay, how the data is getting processed, we are going to check that. Okay, when the data is in a transit mode, how the data security has been maintained. Everything we are going to check, cross verify by conducting the risk assessment. Okay, now by doing a risk assessment, we will try to identify the flaw. The flaw was when the data is getting transferred. During that time, it is going in a plain text format. It is not going in an encrypted format. This is a problem which can lead to an vulnerability. The risk will be data will get exposed if any attacker intercept between the network. Okay, so identify the likelihood and the impact after the attack, which will give you the risk score. Now based on that risk score, we are going to treat that risk. Okay, the risk score is very much high, treat it as soon as possible. That is what your risk assessment is, where we identify the threats and vulnerability and determine the likelihood impact of that risk. We simply calculate the value of the asset, and based on that value of that asset, identify what is the risk for that asset, what are the likelihood and impact, and we will get a risk score. Okay, so identify the threat and vulnerability, potential likelihood, cyber attack, natural disaster, human error. What are the, I can say, what are the threats? Based on that, the weakness in system, process, or control that can be exploited. Okay, so we are going to evaluate the likelihood of the impact. What if the attack has been done or cyber attack has been done? Okay, what will be the impact for the organization? That we calculate through the likelihood. Okay, now based on this risk assessment, we create the risk treatment plan. Now in this treatment plan, what do we have? Simple four things. One is avoid, second is reduce, third is transfer, four is accept. You want to avoid that risk, you want to reduce that risk, or you can say treat that risk, you want to transfer that risk or accept that risk. Okay, so based on this treatment plan, you are going to react on that risk. Okay, so this is what the difference between risk assessment and gap analysis is. Okay, now once this has been done, what we are going to do, we are going to develop a document or a policy. Who is going to do that? Yes, lead implementer is going to do that. He is going to develop a document. He is going to create a policy as well. Okay, now what will be the policy? So I have just given few examples about the policy: information security policy, risk management policy, access control policy, okay, incident response policy, data protection and privacy policy, security awareness and training policy, acceptable reuse policy, physical and environmental security policy. Okay, now let me give you a quick overview as well about this policy. Okay, so when we are developing a document or a policy, okay, so we will be simply, I can say, aligning it with the organization. Okay, so information security policy, my outline will be the commitment for information security. Okay, so we will be setting a tone. Okay, so roles and responsibility to be maintained, the commitment to be given by the stakeholders. Okay, so this policy is going to serve as a foundation for the entire ISMS as well. Okay, and we are going to ensure that it need to be communicated across all level of the organization. Okay, so if we are writing any security policy, information security policy, make sure that this policy is available with everyone. Okay, because this policy is going to align the entire ISMS. Okay, then we have is your risk treatment policy. Okay, or you can say the risk management policy, how you are going to manage that risk. Okay, how the risk to be treated depending on to the criticality of the risk. Identify the risk, evaluate it and prioritize it. So we have a treatment option. Okay, so based on that treatment option, react on that risk. So we have a policy available for that, mandatory, you have to follow it. Okay, based on to your risk assessment, treat it, ignore it, reduce it or transfer it. Okay, so we are writing a policy for that. Now we are writing a policy for an access control policy. Okay, now access control policy is what? It is going to specify that how access to information or how, what are the access to the system or to the servers are being given. For example, I am working to, I am associated with one organization as an, you can say, security consultant. So as a security consultant, I will be assigned with certain roles and responsibility, isn't it? So there will be certain roles and responsibility for assigned for me. Now based on that roles and responsibilities, certain privileges have been given to me. Okay, what will be the access right? What services, what application I am going to access? Okay, what database I am going to access? Okay, so based on that, based on my roles and responsibility, certain can say privileges have been given. Okay, now these privileges will be different for every employee. Okay, the manager will be having different privileges. Okay, top management will be having different privileges, accounts team will be having different privileges. So what we are doing, we are creating a policy for that. Okay, what will be the limitation? Okay, depending on to the role we are giving an access, we call it as a role based access control. Heard about RBAC, role based access control. Based on to your roles and responsibility, the accesses are been given, the controls are been given. Then we give it as per, you can say, as per the modification or as per the confidentiality of the data. Depending on to the confidentiality of the data, the access has been given. Okay, and who give this? The top management will decide it, whether you want to grant that access or modify it or revoke the access. Authentication authorization method, again it's coming under to a access control policy. Okay, what is the authentication purpose? What is the authorized person? Who is authenticated to access the portal? Only the internal employee. Okay, now when they are going to access it, until unless if they are giving an ID and password, then only they will have an access to this portal. If you are entering inside the organization, you go with the access card. Who is having the access card? The employee, authorized person. Once he tap the card, he get authorized and he have an access to the premises. Authentication authorization. Again, it's coming under to the access control policy. Monitoring, least privilege principle, all this coming under to your access control policy. Okay. Then we have is your incident response policy. If there is any incident, who is going to react, how you are going to treat that incident, how you are going to work on that incident. So we want a team over there, incident response policy. Okay, so there will be an incident detection, report that incident detection, roles and responsibilities of the teams will be given. For example, any attack has been done in my organization. Now who is going to react on that attack or react on that incident? So IR team will going to react on that incident. So they will be visiting the site, doing the cross verification whether that incident is true or not. If it isn't true, let's do an interrogation and and after that the investigation will begin. Okay, the evidence will be collected, and uh, the root cause analysis will be done, and the complete process, you can say, will be done. The escalation process, post incident review, okay, communication plan will be created. So that is what we do in your incident response policy. Okay. Then we have is your data protection and privacy policy, where we ensure that the data is protected again under to the regulations. We have different regulations nowadays: GDPR, HIPAA. These are the outline that how personal and sensitive data need to be handled. Okay, so for that the guidelines have been given under these policies. How you are going to collect, process, or store the data or dispose the data. Okay, who is going to handle and how they are going to handle the data, access, deletion. Okay, data retention policy. Okay, if there is any data breach, how you are going to react on that. So like this you will have the complete information under to this policy. Okay, which is going to help the organization to avoid any regulations as well. Security awareness and training, every month we are going to have the awareness, so for that the policy is there. Okay, a regular awareness program. Okay, so we are going to have a small test as well, evaluation test, that everyone has been aware about the security process, everyone has been aware about this control. Okay, so like this the conduct has been done. You might have encountered a situation, the phishing attacks has been done. Okay, phishing emails have been sent internally by the organization itself. Okay, why they do that? To see the effectiveness, how well the employees have been aware about this phishing attack. Okay, if anyone has been clicking on that phishing link, so after that they have to go with the training program. Okay, again the training is been provided based on to the LMS or the live virtual training, whatever the organization is whatever they have planned for. So there will be again a training for that employee. Okay, after that the evaluation has been done, whether the employee have understood about this types of an you can say social engineering attack. So like this it comes under to the policy, which is again a mandatory as per the ISMS standard. Okay, so there should not be any human error. So we are simply reducing the human error with you can say with this introducing a policy, acceptable use policy. Okay, then physical and environment security policy. Okay, so we are simply developing the policy to make sure that the ISMS has been effective and maintained as well. Okay, so each policy should be tailored as per the requirement of the organization. So it's not like that whatever available in the internet you are going to simply copy those resources. No, not at all. You are going to modify as per your requirement. Now from where you can get this document as a reference, so let me show you one thing which you will get an clear idea how these policies look like. Just give me a second. Okay, so directly for a reference you can refer this website. SANS is giving you the template of all the policies. Okay, I've shared a link over the chat as well. This is just for reference. So based on your requirement you can select what are the categories: acceptable encryption policy, use policy, what is there inside it. Okay, so this is how the policy will look like. Now based on your requirement, you are going to do the modification. Okay, so it is not mandatory, simply you are going to adopt complete things. No, as per your requirement, you are going to do the modification. Okay, so this is how your policy will look like. Okay, now let's quickly discuss about the implementation phases as well. Right? Okay, and what are the best practices? So this is just a small overview. What are the best practice you are going to follow? Okay, and this is, I can say, it's a mandatory. You are going to follow this. Okay, a key pointer I have highlighted: plan, risk assessment, develop the policy, implement and operate that, review the improvement regularly, give an awareness and training, and perform and regular audits as well. Okay, a simply 7 step. So preparing and planning. So you will be getting an approval from the management related to the personal tools and budget. Okay, budgets also plays an important role over here. Then you will be creating a plan how you are going to treat the ISO 27001 implementation as a project. What will be the timeline, milestone, okay, roles and responsibilities. Okay, then you are going to define the scope. Okay, you are going to conduct a gap analysis. Okay, what are the initial gaps, and understand from the current practice falling short as per the requirement. Okay, now once that has been done, we will do a risk assessment. Okay, develop the plan, or you can say methodology. With methodology you are going to follow. Okay, once the methodology has been selected, do a assessment. Okay, identify the threats and vulnerability. Based on that, treat that risk. Okay, develop a risk treatment plan. Okay, for ensuring each identification has been ensured, or each risk has been mitigated, avoided or transferred. Okay, once that has been done, after that what we are going to do, develop and document process or policy. Okay, policy development, we are going to develop the information security policies as per your ISO 27001. Okay, you are going to tailor it as per your need. It's not mandatory you are going to use the same policy, or you are going to use the same protocol. No, you are going to tailor it as per your requirement, so it can cover each area. Okay, now this need to be regularly updated as well. Okay, because as I said, every year we will be not having the same type of under risk is not unstable. Okay, so same thing, every year we will be not continuing with the same, you can say, technology. Okay, so we are going to get evolved, so for that the policies need to be updated as well on a regular basis. Okay, and now make sure that whatever policies you are writing, it is written in a simple text, or you can say in a simple format that everyone is able to understand. Okay, because we cannot expect the same thing from an we can say the juniors as well, or from other department as well. What if the people are coming from a non-technical background, how they will be understanding this? So as per their understanding, we are going to write this policy in a simple language, so everyone can have a clear idea what is this document has been talking about. Okay, and making sure the policies are getting updated and reviewed as well on a regular basis. Okay, now once that has been done, implement. We have decided to go with the certain policies. Now let's implement it as well. Now I have a document now that need to be you can say achieved as well. Okay, so for that we are going to develop security control. Okay, operate it, ensuring that information security practice are been you can say information security implementation has been practiced as well. Okay, as per the document everything has been working. Okay, so we are going to implement the controls. Then after that, review. Okay, how we are going to review? By doing an by simply following the PDCA, plan, do, check and act. Recently we have discussed. Now this cycle is going to ensure the ISMS is continuously improved based on your monitoring result, based on your audit, based on the changes in your risk landscape. Okay, now whatever we are making and changes, make sure you are giving an awareness as well, trainings as well to all the employees. You are providing ongoing security awareness training. Okay, so every employee is able to understand what are the importance of information security. Okay, so we are targeting our trainings, offering role specific trainings to all the employees. Okay, we are giving and phishing and social engineering trainings as well, conducting simulation, or you can say the social engineering attack gags. between the employees, so giving an awareness about the phishing attack, about the social engineering attack. Okay, and we are simply following this practice on a regular basis. So like this, I can have an continuous improvement with regular audit, regular reviews. Okay, so internal audit, external audit, audit trails is a part of your performance evaluation. Okay, so this is just a simple baseline which you can follow, and we can cover each and everything. Okay, now the last part is your continuous improvement. Okay, how you can go with this continuous improvement. Now understand this thing very clearly. If any organization is planning for implementation, their end goal is to get certified against 27001. If they are getting certified, that means they are investing a lot behind the certification. Okay, now the certificate has been validated for 3 years on an average. Okay, now to maintain this certificate, we have to follow certain guidelines. What are those guidelines? Go with the continuous improvement. Every year there will be an audit, external audit performed by this certification body. So for that, I have to go with a regular internal audit and see is there any changes need to be done before the external audit. So that is what your continuous improvement all about. Okay, now how we can do that? So I have given in us 3 different stages or 3 steps how we are going to go with the continuous improvement. Prepare for internal external audit, role of the lead implementer during the audit, and importance of an continuous improvement during the audit. First of all, internal audit is what? Any audit which has been conducted by the organization will be acting as an internal audit. Now, why this has been done? To ensure that the ISMS has been meeting up to the requirement. Organization is meeting up to the ISMS requirement or not. So we can identify the non-conformative. Non-conformative is what? Not adhering the controls. Okay, or not conforming, or you can say not complying with the standard. That is what your non-conformative is. Okay, now what will be the preparation stage? So first, audit plan. We are going to create a schedule, audit schedule. Okay, so audit will be conducted you can say twice in a year. Okay, now first audit will be on January, second audit will be on, let's say, September. Okay, so like this the plan has been prepared. After that, audit checklist will be prepared based on your ISO 27001 requirement. Okay, based on your internal policies, risk assessment result. So we are going to create a checklist. Okay, so as an I'm considering as an auditor. Okay, so I'm considering myself as an auditor. What I will be doing in this situation? So first, the plan will be proposed. Okay, based on the plan, let's say today, from tomorrow, I'm going to start with an audit. So I will be preparing my own checklist. Okay, so what I'm going to ensure that everything need to be covered as per your ISO 27001. Now after that, I'm going to review all the documents. Okay, now what will be the documents? Important document, ISMS document, policies, procedure, records. Okay, the review which has been done by the management, older reports of the internal or external audit. Okay, so all the document will be reviewed. Now with this, I'm going to can say uh, discussing the information with the interested parties as well. Interested party will be the various department over here. Okay, so I will be talking with them, interacting with them, conducting an interview, understanding how the ISMS has been achieved. Okay, so we will be you can say conducting some simulation, some best practices to identify the gap, to ensure the readiness of the requirement. Okay, so that is what the internal audit is going to do. Okay, now external audit is what? Any audit which has been conducted by the certification body or any accreditation body will be acting as an external audit. Okay, now with that external audit, you can get an award in the form of a certificate. Okay, now how the external audit has been done? The process is same. Okay, First, the external auditor is going to conduct a gap assessment to find out the gap. Then he will be engaging or talking with the auditors. Okay, he will try to collect an evidence. Okay, the evidence will be collected. Then he will be checking the audit readiness. What are the continuous monitoring? And based on that, the report will be published and report will be submitted to the auditee, to the organization, and to the certification body. If there is no non-conformative, your certificate will be given, or if you are already having a certificate, your certificate will be carried forward. Okay, your certificate will be continued. What if there is a non-conformative in that area? The timeline has been given that fixed its problem within 2 months. After that, again we are going to visit your organization, test it. If there is any problem, your certificate will be revoked, or else if you mitigate the problem, your certificate will be continued. That is what your external audit is. Okay, now what are the roles of the implementer during the audit? Okay, now lead implementer plays an important role in both internal audit and external audit as well. Audit planning and coordination has been done by the implementer. Who will plan when the audit need to be done? Who is going to coordinate with that auditor? Lead implementer is going to do that. He is going to schedule. Remember the first phase, the plan phase. In that plan phase, all this information has been given, that how we are going to go with the continuous improvement. So after the implementation, we are going to plan for the internal audit. Okay, and at least twice in a year we are going to plan for the internal audit. So your implementer plays an important role over here to run this process very smoothly. Documentation will be prepared by the implementer, and if there is any confusion between the documentation, auditor is going to connect with this implementer. Okay, so the implementer is going to engage, you can say, will going to coordinate with the auditor, or he's going to closely monitor the audit as well. Okay, to review the findings closely, seeing any opening issues. Okay, closely ensuring that the organization is complying with the 27,001 or not. So with this, I can simply go with the continuous improvement and monitoring. Okay, now how to do that? PDCA. Just remember the PDCA over here. How you are going to go with continuous improvement monitor? PDCA. Plan, do, check, and act. Identify the security risk, implement the ISMS policy, monitor the effectiveness, and address their non-conformity, whether they are implemented correctly or not. Okay, and why the continuous improvement matters a lot? Because we can adapt to as per the changes. As technology, business, process are getting changed. So as per the ISMS, we must adapt the, you can say, new changes. We must address the new risk as well. For that, make sure you are going with the continuous improvement. You are going with the monitoring as well. Okay, so that is what this plan has been talking about. Okay, so this is how the complete process of an implementation take place. Okay, so we will be starting a project. After that, we will be deciding for the risk assessment methodology, then conducting and creating a plan for the risk assessment, for the risk treatment. After that, uh, 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 reviewing the document, conducting the gap assessment, or you can say the risk assessment to find out the problem. Okay, then treat that problem, write the statement of applicability. Okay, address the control, select the control and implement those controls, and after that continuously monitor it as well by conducting an internal external audit. So like this, the complete process has been carried out by the lead implementer. Okay, so I hope everyone got a fair idea that what is a lead implementation and how the lead implementer work in this area, what is his roles and responsibilities are.